Daniel Dalton, first of all, a word about Philip Bradbourne. You knew him well. I think you've been here for a number of years. Perhaps you started your career out here in Brussels working alongside him. What was he like as an MEP for the West Midlands?
Well, he was a sterling MEP for the West Midlands. I mean, everything he did was focused on constituents in the West Midlands, and I think if you go around to many people around the region, they will all say good things about him. And that's something that I want to try and emulate myself, but I think it's very difficult when you step into the shoes of someone like Phil, who's been such a sterling servant of people of the West Midlands, not only as an MEP that he was for 10 years, but he also served in local council for many years before that.
And you taking over the seat, perhaps you might have wished it in different circumstances, but something that you presumably are very pleased to be doing. You wanted to be an MEP. You stood in the 2009 election, you stood in the 2014 election. What does it mean to you to become now an MEP for the West Midlands?
Well, obviously I would have preferred much different circumstances. I mean, this is really not the way I would have wanted to have come about, but it has, and for me it's a great moment. I mean, I played cricket for Warwickshire in the region, and I did a lot of coaching around the region. I know the region well. I've lived in the region virtually all my life, so to represent that region now, for me it's a great honour.
And what are you going to be doing then in the job to represent the region, to represent those constituents that you now do?
Well, I think first of all, it's our relationship with Europe is the most important thing. I want to be part of reforming the EU. I want to be part of renegotiating Britain's relationship and moving towards that referendum. That's the first thing. But secondly, as a constituency MEP, I want to stand up for the interests of the West Midlands. And as Philip Bradbourne used to always say, represent the West Midlands in Europe, not the other way round.
There are many areas of European law, many areas where you could take an interest. Where do you think you're going to focus your energy, your interest, considering the work perhaps that you've been doing out in Brussels for a number of years?
Well, there are a few areas. I mean, one, agriculture is an area that I'm very interested in myself. There's big agriculture areas throughout the West Midlands. I'm very keen on that and will certainly be focusing on that. Also, the internal market. For me, that's absolutely key. It's one of the key elements of our relationship with the European Union. And for the West Midlands, a manufacturing region that relies on exports, it's absolutely key.
And without using the buzz terms that we use out here, like the common market, what does Europe mean for the West Midlands? And where do you think things could perhaps be done differently or better?
Well, the internal market, so that's a free market of 500 million people throughout Europe that companies in the West Midlands can sell into. That is vitally important, and for me that is the essence of the European Union, the common market that we thought we were joining in the 1970s. For me that's the essence. Now in things that can be done better, well, I think there's a huge amount that can be brought back to Westminster and even possibly to be decided within the West Midlands ourselves. I think that's key, but we really need to focus to make sure that we continue to have access to these European markets.
What do you see as the potential for the West Midlands of being a member of the European Union, even though you'd obviously like it to be somewhat different to the way it operates at the moment? Do you see potential to get more out of the EU for the region?
Yeah, while we're in the EU, there's a huge amount we can do. One, as I mentioned, we really need to be selling into those European markets. We are an export-based region, we are a manufacturing-based region. It's a vitally important external market for us. It's not the only market, there are other ones as well, but that's a vitally important one. The European Union also provides the West Midlands with substantial funding in quite a few areas, and that's something that I really want to focus on as an MEP, to make sure we're accessing those funds and we're getting those fundings into the region.
Just to sum up really, how will you judge success as an MEP? How will you look back over the coming years and feel that you've achieved something just starting out now as you are?
Well, bring some powers back, and MEPs can do that every day. Every day they're voting on things that can either move powers gradually towards Europe, or they can move some powers back to the national governments. I want to be part of the process that moves things back, and if in 4.5 years' time we've managed to bring things back, I'll see that as a very, very positive step. But I also want to raise the profile of the West Midlands here, make sure that people know that we've got a great region, that we're a vibrant region, and that we're a diverse region as well, that not only has manufacturing but also has agriculture. So I think if we can raise the profile of the region as well, that would be success for me.